One of the things that I focus on when I'm teaching or when I'm preaching is that God desires our heart more than our action, more than any words that we do or any place that we go or things that we sing or say. He wants our heart. And in Mark chapter 7, we see Jesus teach this on full display. Hey everybody, welcome back to another installment of In the Word with Brother Charlie. I am glad that you are here with us, and I want to thank you for joining us day after day as we study through Scripture one chapter at a time, one chapter a day. And today, as we find ourselves, like I said, in Mark chapter 7, we see Jesus is confronting tradition. Now, before you get carried away, I'm not against traditions. I like certain traditions. As a matter of fact, there's certain things that I like to do with my family over Christmas, and everybody likes different traditions. But if we're not careful, it's very easy for us to get caught up in religion mode rather than focusing on the relationship that we're called to have with Jesus. And I think part of that is because it's so easy to do religion. It doesn't require our heart. We just have to go through some actions. We don't even have to mean it. It's an outwardly action with a focus on what I bring to God rather than on what He offers us. But I want you to see here, as we look at verses 8 and 9 in Mark chapter 7, Jesus speaking to the Pharisees, speaking to the religious leaders, and really honing in on the issue with religion over relationship. Take a look at what he says here. He has been confronting the Pharisees and the scribes, but here's what he says in verses 8 and 9. He says, neglecting the commandment of God, you hold to the tradition of men. And then in verse 9, he says, you are experts at setting aside the commandment of God in order to keep your tradition. You see, traditions in and of themselves are not bad. They're good. They help us to remember the things over and over, to remind ourselves of the goodness of God. But if we're not careful, we will replace the relationship that God has called us to with Him with going through the motions, of following traditions, of putting the things of man above the things of God. And Jesus said here that the Pharisees and the scribes were experts in replacing God with their tradition. So as we examine our hearts, I want us to be challenged to truly consider, is it religion for us or is it a relationship? Do we care more about church or do we care more about Christ? You see, tomorrow, as we get into Mark chapter 8, we're going to see that there is a major problem if we chase after religion over Jesus. Until then, have a blessed day, and thank you for joining us.